You're watching ACC basketball on ACC Network Extra. Hello, everybody, and welcome inside historic Cameron Indoor Stadium alongside Debbie Taylor. I am Ryan Craig, moments away from Duke and Wake Forest. Both programs looking for their first conference win of the year. But, Debbie, the big headline coming into tonight, injuries, major injuries for both teams.
Wake Forest is going to play without their two leading scorers and their two leading rebounders. Alex Sharp, a 6'1 junior, and Eliza Penner, a 6'3 senior. Their two most experienced players, as well as Ariel Stevenson, a good guard who's been out for the season. So the question for them is, where do the points come from and where does the rebounding come from? Points
on one side, point guard on the other. No Kyra Lambert, no Michaela Boykin for the Blue Devils. Duke getting bad news about Boykin. A knee injury will sideline her for the rest of the year.
Sadly for Boykin, her fourth ACL tear. For Kyra Lambert, her second. And both of these outstanding floor generals, great point guards. So the question marks for Duke, it's going to be all about their decision making and their ability to run the offense without their two best leaders on the court.
Sad thing about Boykin, too, she had worked her way all the way back into the lineup, missed 361 days of basketball before coming back against UNLV this year, and she had really started to reestablish herself as one of the most important players for this Blue Devil team, and now once again they've got to try to reorganize, shift personnel, and figure out what they want to do to try to replace her.
They have. Unfortunately for Duke, they've had a streak of bad luck from the point guard position, and for Michaela, she was playing so well and really giving Duke the needed boost.
Interesting look at the tail of the tape here. How about that bottom line? Down to the 10th, exactly the same number of turnovers per game for both of these teams. We talked to Jen Hoover earlier this week. She felt like turnovers and rebounding were going to be the two keys for both of these teams tonight.
Totally agree, and I think the third is going to be hustle plays. Which team is willing to go out there and do the little things? Set good screens, get on the floor for loose balls, pull offensive boards, play great defense. Things that are within their control, as we see a three from the corner.
Jada Adams getting the start and hitting the corner three. Adams has looked more confident the last time you and I saw Duke play. Had no problem taking the ball to the basket, shooting from the outside. Does so there, gives the Blue Devils a 3-0 lead. Gina Conti steps back, and that corner three is good. So back-to-back threes, and we are knotted at three here in the early going.
I'm sure Coach Hoover likes to see that from Conti early. They're looking for her to really score more. In the absence of their two leading scorers, they really need Conti, the sophomore, who started 11 games last season and every game this year, to really step up and look more for her shot.
Yeah, she's an elite passer, but they need her to add a degree of selfishness to her game with all of the points they're missing in terms of injury. Second in the ACC in assists per game, leads the conference in minutes per game, so she's a workhorse for Coach Hoover. And there you see Coach Hoover on the sidelines.
The Wake Forest grad. Wake Forest Hall of Fame 2002, number 2 on the all-time scoring list at Wake. She was a great player in her own right, Ryan. We see Duke, they're going to mix up their zones, which makes it really tough for opposing teams because they have to read the defense. Point guards have to make decisions. Duke plays multiple defensive systems, a matchup zone, a 2-3 zone. They can play some man, so point guards have to be ready to call plays, different sets accordingly.
And Coach P has been pleased with the way that her team has adapted to all these different defenses, although there, Ivana Ratza gives Wake Forest the lead on the jump shot, but so many different looks, obviously new personnel. Anytime you bring in a freshman class and those that are playing different roles than they had a year ago, whether because of injury or otherwise, and she is liked. They've been able to be versatile on defense.
Well, and one of the things that makes them so great is their length. I mean, they have some really tall guards out there. You know, Nay Odom is 6'2", Haley Gorecki is 6 foot, so a lot of length out there makes ball fakes and shot fakes essential if you want to be able to beat this matchup zone.
Adams listed at 6 feet as well, getting her first start.
Well, and we see the turnover woes, and this is going to be such a big factor in this game. Who can take better care of the basketball? Who can make good decisions? Who can run their offense effectively? Both these teams have been plagued with turnovers all season.
Adams will come out and have a word with Coach Joanne P. McCauley. Mila Goodchild steps onto the floor for the first time.
It'll be interesting to see how Wake chooses to attack Duke's zone. Some folks will overload it. You see the overload right here with the baseline runner.
That three-pointer catches nothing but air for Kaylin Dixon. Dixon getting the start for Coach Jen Hoover along with Gina Conti. Ivana Ratza, Reagan Branch And Anna Udo, that three-pointer is good as the Blue Devils retake the lead at 6-5. Haley Gorecki into the scoring column.
On Haley Gorecki picking off probably her best game last outing against Florida State. Just had a sensational night. 25 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals. I mean, just took the game over.
Yeah, apologies. It was Goodchild obviously on the three. Trying to answer that time was Ratza, but it's no good. Leanna Odom in transition. She has become the de facto point guard really for this team. She has the ability to play really the 1 through 4 spots. Will probably do so at the professional level should she choose to pursue a professional basketball career. And so maybe an opportunity for her at this point to hone some of the skills she may need in the future.
Well, Coach P telling us she really understands the point guard position of all her players. She has a great IQ. She gets it. And you see Nay Odom's strength, that short pull-up jump shot. She's so athletic, and perhaps playing the point for this team is going to give her an opportunity to really expand her versatility.
So athletic, can simply elevate over defenders, particularly in the paint. 8-5 Blue Devils. Duke has made its last 3 field goals.
Here comes the baseline runner again, post-to-post screen. To beat this matchup, you got to move the ball quickly. You've got to get it into the heart of the defense. Nice high-low look. Wake likes to run a lot of different high-low sets.
Udo retrieves the loose ball after Akinbodi James provided solid defense down low for the Blue Devils. Gorecki, Odom, Akinbodi James, Jade Williams, and Jada Adams, the starters for Duke, although Goodchild already out there as a substitute.
And as you said, Ryan, both these teams 0-5, looking for their first ACC win. So we're anticipating a pretty hard-fought battle as we see the shot clock violation.
Yeah, and really desperation for both teams. Got to be a sense of urgency, and both certainly dealing with a short deck, having to overcome adversity with injuries.
Both these coaches, when we talk to them, so positive, and you have to stay positive. Duke has such a young team, and they learn and get better with every game. Wake Forest clearly dealing with their share of adversity without their leadership, their older experienced players on the court. So coaches have to stay positive and keep their players upbeat and going strong. 5
on the shot clock. Gorecki along the baseline. It's one defender in the air. That one ends up behind the backboard and will belong to the Demon Deacons. You know, not only with Penna and Sharp out, it's obviously a ton of experience. 32 points, 17 rebounds in this game last year. A 59-51 win for the Blue Devils here in Cameron Indoor Stadium, last time these teams played.
Blue Devils doing a nice job with their half-court trap, eating time off the shot clock. Nice interior pass.
Boy, Ratza just ran into a brick wall in Akinbodi James.
Well, and Wake Forest right now playing pretty good defense. When we'll watch this replay, ball goes in, nice drive. Akinbodi James comes over. She's got such a strong, muscular build. The freshman from Nigeria.
Halfway through the first quarter, Conti surveys the landscape. Gina Conti, step-back jumper. Off the mark, Goodchild the rebound, and the Blue Devils off and running.
Really like that she looked to take those shots, though. Her team's going to need double-digit scoring from her tonight. Both these teams low scoring. Wake Forest averages under 60 points a game. Duke almost right under 63.
Yeah, Duke has been held to 64 or less the last 6 games, looking to bust out of a bit of an offensive slump. Only shooting 28% from the three-point line in ACC games. 2 of 3 thus far tonight, however. Down low, the finish inside, Reagan Branch.
Nice job by Conti to get into the heart of the defense and find Branch on the seal for the easy layup.
Well, Branch is really playing a bit hobbled as well. We've talked about the injuries that are preventing players from stepping onto the court. Branch tweaked a knee, had an ACL injury in that knee back in 8th grade. Just trying to fight her way through it at this point.
It looks like Wake Forest is in a triangle and 2. They've got a face guard on Gorecki, and they've got a face guard on Goodchild. You know, and Gorecki.
A couple away from solo 6th, so you get the feeling going to be seeing a lot more of that from Mila Goodchild in her time here in Durham.
Well, and the freshman from Australia certainly has a beautiful stroke from behind the arc. She's shooting 45% right now in her first season, and that is her 34th 3 on the season. Nice trap by Duke to come out of that timeout and get exactly what they want. There's the quick turnover.
It's going to be the 3rd turnover of the night for Wake Forest. Blue Devils have 3 as well. Here we'll get to see Leanna Odom running the offense.
We've got a face guard on Gorecki. Now it looks more like a box and 1 as we see Goodchild drive down the middle and Akinbodi James with the travel.
Freshman turns it over So it'll go back to the Demon Deacons. Duke hasn't scored in almost 3 minutes.
And I think both teams recognizing each other's propensity to turn the ball over are really going to look to extend their defense tonight. Duke doing a good job breaking, mixing up their presses, really eating into the shot clock for Wake.
The Demon Deacons really just getting into their offense now. 7 on the shot clock. Ratza kicks it back out. Over it goes to Hana. Met there by Akinbodi James, who's provided stout defense on the interior, has kept her feet on the ground, hands in the air. A couple of different times Wake Forest has been denied by the freshman.
Nice base defense on the baseline drive. Let's see what Wake does on this possession, throwing out their junk defenses, really trying to make sure that Haley Gorecki's not going to score. And you see right then Hana's matchup on Gorecki. Goodchild coming off the stagger screen against the box and one. Gets a good look.
Short on that one, but Faith Suggs on the deflection keeps it alive for Duke. Fresh shot clock.
Well, and you got to think, Ryan, if you can eliminate Gorecki's scoring and tell the other players they have to step up and get it done, it's really a question for Duke of who's going to step up and do that. So I think Coach Hoover's playing the odds here and saying, I'm going to take Gorecki out of the game. Let's see if everybody else can score.
So Goodchild. And now Faith Suggs. A whistle away from the ball, and that may have been on Hana chasing Haley Gorecki around. It was.
She put a little elbow in her back. She's going to make sure Haley Gorecki's going to have somebody on, breathing down her neck all night long. As we see Hana trail Gorecki on this, and she just uses her arm bar to give her a little shove, and good call by the official.
A lot of attention on Gorecki, and rightfully so. 5th in the league in points per game. Just under 17. Such a focal point of the Duke offense. Taking almost 16 shots a game. That would be a program record.
Well, and she also not only leads the team in scoring, but she leads the team in assists, in steals, and in minutes played.
Another turnover for Wake Forest. This time it was Ratza taking too many steps as Dixon looks to check back in. Same with Nay Odom for the Blue Devils. 8-7 Duke. We have been stuck on those numbers for quite a while.
Scoring is going to be the issue tonight. Both these teams solid defensively, even without some of their the injured players. And injuries, they're inevitable. Adversity is inevitable during a long season. And the question is, sometimes injury creates opportunity. And who are the players that are now getting more minutes, that are ready to step into their role and use it as a great opportunity to show their skills and help their team win? As we see Jada Adams launch again from long range.
Second 3 of the evening already for Adams, who's really known more for her energetic defense. But showing the touch from the three-point line here this evening.
And capitalizing on her opportunity to start and get more minutes without Michaela on the floor. She's really been improving during the course of the season. We've been watching it, and you're right. She brings a lot of energy and enthusiasm, plays great defense. Wake right now really struggling to move the ball against the matchup zone as we see Nay Odom in transition. She's always fun to watch. She's going to pull up and make the beautiful delayed pass to Jade Williams, running the lanes of the court for the easy basket.
Back-to-back buckets for the Blue Devils. Jen Hoover wants a timeout with $1:30 to go in the first quarter. 13-7 Duke. Adams 2 for 2 from 3 thus far, tying a season high already with 6 points. There's Williams finishing inside. Jade Williams was one of only 3 Blue Devils to score the other night against Florida State, and Lindy Brown, Sports Information Department here at Duke, did some digging. Incredibly, that just doesn't happen very often, first of all. When only 3 players score, it happens even less when a team gets 60-plus. Only one other time in Duke since the 99-2000 season has the team scored 60 points and only had 3 players score. The last time that's happened anywhere in the country, Milwaukee did it against Cleveland State in 2009. Just a statistical oddity. You look at the box score one time, you kind of wonder, wait, something looks weird about this. That's what it was.
It was crazy. And both Gorecki and Jade Williams just playing outstanding games. Probably their best game of the season. Nay Odom's having a great game as well. But so ironic. Coach P always talks about how she wants to have 5. She needs 5 scorers, to have a good game. But those 3 put up an enormous amount of points. And it was a close Florida State game. Florida State just able to edge the Blue Devils toward the end of the game.
Gorecki had 25 in that game. Odom 20. Jade Williams 17. Another turnover for Wake Forest. Demon Deacons just struggling really to get anything going offensively against this varied Duke defense.
Well, the Blue Devils that time full court pressure on the inbounder, immediate trap, mixing it up, and you're just keeping the Demon Deacons off kilter, not letting them get comfortable. Right now, Deacons stay in the zone. Nice interior pass to Jade Williams, and you see Mila Goodchild being trailed by Kaylin Dickinson. And I think she's going to get called for the foul on the push. Kaylin Dixon.
It is Dixon called for the foul, her first. Just 4 total fouls called here in nearly the entire first quarter. 48.1 on the clock. Goodchild a step inside the three-point line. Hana chasing down that rebound. About a 13-second differential between play and shot clock. Conti into the lane, pulls up for the jump shot. That one is no good. Over the top for the rebound, Ana Udo, who Coach Hoover really feels like could be a consistent double-double player.
She's averaging 10 points and almost 9 rebounds a game, and they really need more from her. Coach Hoover saying she could average 20 and 20 if she really picked it up. You really need her to step it up in this game as we see the face guard, Amila Goodchild, a nice deflection.
Coach Hoover challenging Udo to come up with a 20-20 game before this year is done.
Well, Udo's 4th in the ACC in blocks. She's 5th in field goal percentage, shoots almost 61%, and she's 5th in rebounding. We see the lob pass. You can throw that ball so high to Nay Odom.
6 seconds to play in the first quarter. Conti jogs it across midcourt. Needs to get something going quickly. Less than a second to play. Step back 3. No good at the buzzer. And the Blue Devils take a 13-9 lead into the second quarter.
And great job by the Blue Devils mixing up their defense, keeping the Deacons off guard. Great defensive effort on both ends. I like the junk defense by Wake Forest, but Blue Devils right now shooting well from behind the arc.
Especially Jada Adams, 2 for 2 on the night, leading both teams with 6 points, balance across the board. Other than that, we'll take a break and return in just a moment. Debbie, we mentioned it off the top. Injuries were going to be the story of this game. So, of course, the next question is who fills in, who steps up? The answer for Duke so far has been Jada Adams. Couple of threes, couple of steals here in the first quarter.
Well, Jada Adams taking advantage of her opportunity. She averages 15 minutes a game. She always comes off the bench. Tonight, getting the start and getting a chance to show that she deserves to be out there. I love her energy. I love her enthusiasm. And I love that she's stepping up when her team needs her most.
Only 8 threes on 21 tries coming into today, but already with a pair. Back out there on the floor. You said injuries sometimes equal opportunity. She's taking advantage of one right now. The only good news for Wake Forest, they expect some of their injured players to return. Unfortunately for Duke, Kyra Lambert, Michaela Boykin, they're going to be out for the entire season. So this is the roster that Duke is going to have to use to try to work their way back up the ACC standings.
Yes, and Wake is really still adjusting. Eliza Penner has only missed 1 game. She went out right before the Louisville game. So it's making that adjustment, and really their two best scorers and rebounders are more post-oriented players, and they played a high-low system, so they're really trying to learn how to play a little bit differently right now and filling in the holes. You've
been a coach, Debbie. What's interesting, too, if you're Wake Forest, how much do you try to change who you are knowing you're going to get some of these players back? Duke can sort of say, all right, you know what, we're looking forward. This is the team we're going to have. We can make any adjustments we want because we know we're not going to necessarily get anybody back. If you're Wake Forest with Eliza Penna, you think, okay, she might be back here pretty soon. Alex Sharp, she might be back in a couple of weeks. How much do you become a different team only then to perhaps have to readjust one more time?
I think it's minimal because you do know you're getting your 2 best players back, and so maybe a couple sets, maybe a couple wrinkles, some nuances, but you're going to get those players back, and you just want to see the players that are filling in develop and grow with the extra experience that they receive. Here's Duke again, extending the defense.
Odom good on that jumper. 4 points now, 2 of 2 from the field for Liana Odom.
Wake did a nice job on the previous possession, getting that ball inside to Ana Udo, who's able, once again, back-to-back buckets to convert. And that's really what they need to do, get that in there. She's got to be a big scorer for them. Coach Hoover talked about how much potential she has and what she needs to get done for her team.
Udo scoops that one in. She's got 6 and 3 in 9 minutes here this evening. Coach Hoover called her the X Factor as Odom jars the jump shot.
You know, and if you're Odom and your teammates are being face guarded and you're not, that's kind of a little disrespectful. And she right now can score at will. Wake getting the ball down the floor quickly. Once again, able to get it into the interior. And that time, Christina Mora from the Canadian, able to get an easy layup too, 3 in a row.
They're still adjusting to the pace of the game, but had a good game against Notre Dame.
Triangle 2 continues. Face guard on Gorecki and on Jada Adams. So Nay Odom is going to say, give me the ball.
Conti, the one-handed rebound. Had a career-high 8 of those against Louisville. Udo rejected by Akinbodi James. Udo thought she had an easy 2.
Nice lead pass by Conti to find a wide-open Udo. Head up. Great pass. Akinbodi James, so athletic. Gets up and perfect timing, blocks that one. Gina Conti continues to develop into a really solid point guard. Nice execution, interior pass. Another layup.
Yeah, Blue Devils lost Udo down low. Perhaps a bit lucky that she missed the layup. You know, Conti on the other end grabbing that rebound, that was something that Coach Hoover said was going to be vital for Wake Forest. They have to rebound as a team. All 5 players have to be involved. They were out-rebounded their last 3 games before the Louisville game. To that point, they had out-rebounded every opponent all season.
And then they out-rebounded Louisville by 20, and who does that? A great effort. Well, they knew in the absence of Penna, they really had to step up, and they missed a wide open, but right back inside the post. Udo can't convert. They're getting the easy looks.
Udo 3 for 7 from the field. Odom, first one down the floor, lays it in. Blue Devils lead by 4.
And talk about a nice lead pass. Gorecki head up, streaking Nay Odom. Beautiful play.
Just over 6 minutes to play here in the first half. Conti looking for some space.
And Duke switching to their 2-3 zone, trying to close up the middle a little bit more. Sophia Roma coming in. She'll come in and play a couple minutes, put a big body down there in the middle of the zone.
Conti into the lane at the shot clock buzzer. How many different times have the Demon Deacons tonight had to take a shot with less than 5 seconds on the shot clock? Gorecki quickly the other way. That one is good. And one.
Haley Gorecki hasn't gotten many touches because of the great defense and the face guard, but she's able to get this one out in transition. Well, you see the lead pass here. She's not scoring, she's assisting, she's doing a little bit of everything for her team. Nice pass to Nay Odom, but right here just grabs it, and she knows she has daylight, and she goes to the rim, and she finishes with the foul.
Mora called for the foul. Gorecki probably looking at having one of those games where, because you're really kind of being taken out of things offensively from a scoring standpoint, how else can you impact the game for your team? You talked about the assists. Obviously, she's been terrific on defense. Second in the ACC at almost 3 steals a game.
Well, she's had games throughout the season where she hasn't scored a lot, but she always impacts the game, whether it is with her rebounding. And Wake forces that in, and it just happens to luckily fall back into their hands. Another easy layup. They're getting some high percentage shots right now.
Reagan Branch that time with the finish inside. Demon Deacons shooting just 36% from the field. Blue Devils, by contrast, even with that miss, just a tick under 53%.
I like the defensive strategy right now, though. They're not going to let Gorecki or Goodchild beat them. They're going to make other players score. Again, with the almost force feed inside. Ivana Ratza just throwing the high-low. A little too hard. But Demon Deacons able to maintain possession.
Jay Williams checks back in for Sophia Roma. 4:55 to play. Here in the second quarter, Blue Devils lead by 5 here at Cameron Indoor. 55 to go until halftime here in Cameron Indoor Stadium. Blue Devils 22, Demon Deacons 17. Leona Odom leading all scorers with 8. She's 4 of 5 from the field. Coach P says she needs to take 12 to 15 shots a game for this Duke team. Has to be aggressive. you're thinking if Wake Forest is going to play her the way they've played her thus far, she can take a whole lot more shots than that and score a whole bunch of points.
She can. She's such a capable scorer, and she's almost too unselfish. And right now with this ball in her hands, as she's been taking on the new position as point guard, which she's very capable, gives her an opportunity to take a lot of shots tonight. So let's see if she steps up and does it.
Interesting stat here. Wake Forest 7 offensive rebounds to the Blue Devils 1. That is how the Demon Deacons are staying in touch here despite shooting only 36% from the floor. They've taken 5 more shots than Duke.
And they're getting a lot of interior looks right at the rim and just not converting. They need to, when they get the layups, they need to make the layups as Conti launches a 3. And again, Blue Devils playing great defense, getting the shot clock all the way down, and Wake having to force up a shot and another turnover for Duke.
Quick hands there from Conti after she missed the 3 on yet another buzzer-beating attempt for Wake Forest. Shot clock winding down on a consistent basis, this time with much quicker offense for the Demon Deacons, and Banks is fouled by Williams inside.
Well, Wake using their rotation, getting their players in. Banks in the game now. Nice drive, nice interior pass. See Hannah get into the heart of the defense, draws the defense. Nice seal by Banks. She gets Odom on her back. She's a little bit bigger body. Wake, one of the better free throw shooting teams in the country, ranked 33rd in the nation right now, shooting 75%.
And as you say that, misses that one off the heel.
Curse.
Still 22-17. Good child. Kind of bobbled it on the catch. You wonder if that threw off a rhythm just a touch. Missing on the 3. Maya Banks the rebound.
You know, one of the easiest ways to beat a zone is to beat it down the floor, but Wake Forest tonight, with their short bench, really not pushing the ball, I think, as much as they usually do, controlling the tempo of this game. They do not want to get into a track meet with Duke, so wisely taking their time. Nice trap right there.
Down to 8 once again on the shot clock. Demon Deacons have been living on the offensive end of the floor with less than 5 to go.
Blue Devils defense just aggressive. Long arms, getting deflections, making it difficult.
Conti on the inbounds, finding Ratza down low. Working against Williams. A couple of head fakes, some nice footwork for Ivana Ratza, the Serbian, who finishes inside, and Wake Forest back within 3.
Well, she leads the team with 12 double-digit games this year. Nice block.
That was Branch coming up with the goods that time. Here comes Conti the other way. Coach Hoover said Conti has to be a double-digit scorer with about 8 assists a game, and then we'll be in pretty good shape. That time, it's Ratza who hits the 3.
Well, she also told her she needed Ratza to step up big in this game, and Ratza will play some 3 and play some 4. She's able to play inside and out, gives them some versatility. Back-to-back baskets. She's also great off-ball. As we see this face guard continue on Goodchild and Gorecki forcing another turnover. Here come the Deacons.
Ratza comes up with a loose ball. The hit ahead to Udo. Looking for Ratza, but it's Odom instead on the intercept. Liana Odom back the other way, lays it in.
And you don't want to loft up a pass anywhere in Odom's jurisdiction. She's got those long arms. She's a great anticipator. She's so agile.
4-point swing right there. Udo looked like she had an opportunity with a better pass to score down low. Instead, the turnover and the lay-in for Odom, who's the first to double figures for either team.
This game's really going to come down to the team that makes the least number of mistakes.
Off the hands.
Coach P talked to us about what she calls slippage, mistakes in a row. You know, she says we really have to minimize our back-to-back mistakes. So, you know, when we get on streak them together. And right now, Blue Devils are doing that.
Conti to initiate, finding Ratza in the corner. Ratza, highest scoring available player for Wake Forest. Penna leads the team with 15.3 a game. Alex Sharp in behind her at 12-7. Ivana Ratza averaging just over a dozen a game.
Anna Udo's going to get called for that foul. They got to be careful with her. They want to have Conti. I think Conti and Udo are so important to keep in this game. Conti, again, plays more minutes than anybody in the ACC. And ironically, Haley Gorecki, third most minutes played in the ACC.
Nobody on either side with more than one personal foul at this point. Here's Odom, 5 of 6 from the field thus far. Akinbode James, the head fake, looking to work against Udoh and finishes inside with the left hand.
Akinbode James has not put up a lot of points. She's a rebounder. She's a defensive presence. But that was a beautiful, greatly paced move. Looked like she does that every day.
Late to the game, Akinbode James didn't really start playing basketball till she was 14, and only because somebody suggested it because of her size. Udoh down low. Kicks it back out to Conti. Again with 3 on the shot clock, and Conti lays it in.
I love Conti's game. Stepping up to the challenge tonight. Nice drive to the rim. You watch Gurecki and Ratza. Ratza's job is to make sure Gurecki does not get touches.
Haley Gurecki has only taken 3 shots thus far. Udoh takes a foul on the perimeter.
And Dixon's doing the same to Mila Gutchild. So this triangle in 2 seems to be working for Wake.
If you're Wake Forest, got to feel good about the fact you're within a basket here with 55.1 to play until halftime. Gurecki looking for some space, gets her defender in the air and then finishes inside.
Well, she's certainly taking advantage when she does get the ball in her hands. She really had an amazing game against Florida State. Those 25 points, and she scored. She knocked them down from behind the arc. She finished at the rim. She pulled offensive rebounds. Kind of the old Haley Gurecki we saw before her last injury.
One of only 3 ACC players this year to have a game with 10-plus rebounds and a game with 10-plus assists. Faith Suggs draws the charge. Her team leading 7th of the season. Has taken a dozen now in her career.
And those are the things that Faith Suggs, the senior, does for this Duke team. Not the things that necessarily show up in the stat sheet, but the hustle plays, the toughness plays. Always there to take the charge. Great defensive position.
Blue Devils can hold for the final shot. Duke has hit its last 3 shots. Here is Odom now. Gurecki, bothered by Dixon. Step back 3 with 4 to play. Gutchild chases down the rebound, gets off the shot. Good if it goes, but it's short. And so we head to halftime. Duke 28, Wake Forest 24.
Good defense by both teams. Great effort. Both teams, as we said, fighting for their first.
For Wake Forest, that means Ivana Ratza needs to shoulder more of the load. 7 points in the first half for her.
Ratza showing her versatility. She can play inside. She can play outside. She can knock it down behind the arc, giving her team 7 first half points.
Now to Odom with 10 for the Blue Devils. Has only missed 1 field goal attempt on the evening and really has an opportunity with the way that Wake Forest is defending her to have a pretty big night tonight.
This could be a big night for her, but both teams need to stop turning the ball over. 10 for one, 9 for the other. They're staying on their 19.1 symmetrical average, but taking care of the ball, not taking care of the ball can lead to points on the other end. Hopefully something is remedied in the second half.
Odom there, 2 of Duke's 10 points off turnovers. Blue Devils have done a better job turning turnovers into offense. There you see some more of the stats of the first 2 quarters. Wake Forest winning that rebounding battle that is so critical for them, particularly on the offensive glass. It's allowed them to stay in this game despite shooting just 41% from the field compared to Duke's 50%.
Wake going into the horn set. Nice post dive. Akinbode James covers that well.
We've called Akinbode James' name a number of times tonight. A nice finish on offense, but mostly for her stout defense on the interior. That one rolls over the front rim for Reagan Branch in Wake Forest. 1 possession, 1 basket here in the second half.
Well, Wake going back to what they do best, the high-low game, looking for post players, looking for each other, dive cuts, centering the ball, getting it down low.
Gutchild on the floor to start the second half. Came off the bench in the first. That pass from Adams over the head of Akinbode James, and so that'll be the 10th turnover for Duke.
Kaylin Dixon continuing to face guard Haley Gurecki and limit her touches.
Conti has not come off the floor yet.
And Wake needs her to be on the floor, and the Blue Devils have done a good job of maintaining pressure on her the entire game, really making her work. Another interior pass and an easy miss. And Wake just really struggling to convert on some of these easy baskets. When you get a layup, you got to make a layup.
That's 4 or 5 now at least for Wake Forest. Goodchild finds Adams. 2 for 3, make it 3 for 4. As Jada Adams establishes a new career high with 9 points here this evening.
Getting her chance to play, opportunity knocks, and she is answering.
Again, coming into tonight, only 8 made threes on the year. 3 for 4 here this evening.
It's a beautiful back cut right there and a nice pass by Conti, but the whistle blew for the foul before the play.
Corner 3 is good. Ratza nearly fouled by Goodchild on that attempt as well.
Blue Devils inbounding quickly, getting the ball down the floor. We haven't seen a whole lot of transition tonight, Ryan, from either teams. Akinbodi James again on the floor from the high post and the finish at the rim. Impressive for the freshman.
She tends to play in 4 or 5 minute spurts, and she has been really good tonight for the Blue Devils, has given them a different dimension on offense and defense. We talked about how Duke only had 3 scorers against Florida State in their most recent game. That's not the case here tonight, getting contributions from the likes of Akinbodi James and Adams. Udo down low, working against Akinbodi James, who forces the pass and eventually the turnover. Goodchild the other way. Blue Devils 2-on-1. Goodchild to Odom. Well defended by Dixon.
Akinbodi James defensively doing a nice job, making it difficult for Udo to get that shot off.
Hitting the offensive glass was Akinbodi James. Earns another possession for Duke. Another rebound is chased down. Goodchild passes up the 3. Sees Udo in her way and elects to pull it back out. Haley Gorecki beats a couple of defenders and lays it in.
Nice screen, nice pass. Good execution by the Blue Devils. Pressure continues on Conti.
7 points now for Haley Gorecki. (35-29) the score. As Wake Forest pulls back within 4. Udo lays that one in.
Blue Devils back in the matchup zone. Wake Forest continuing to dissect the interior of that defense.
Goodchild and Gorecki on different pages, but Mila Goodchild able to chase it down and then spot up for the corner 3. Odom with the finish inside, and she'll shoot a free throw.
Just so pretty what she can do. She makes it look so easy. Just elevates, high release. Her accuracy just continues to get better. Look at that, just weak side. She's great on the weak side board. She knows the angle. She knows it's coming to her. She keeps it high, kisses it off the glass, and heads to the free throw line.
Absorbs the contact from Udo, who's called for her second foul. Odom steps to the free throw line, where she's a 57% shooter. Duke now with its largest lead of the game at 7 points.
Wake Forest with a short bench because of their injuries. Only 1 guard sub. Their players play a lot of minutes.
Gorecki knocks that rebound away from Ratza, but it'll stay with the Demon Deacons, who have a fresh shot clock. As Coach Jen Hoover, the rest of the Wake Forest staff and team look on.
You know, Ryan, when you play so many minutes, as you see Ratza launch another one, you play so many minutes when the second half of the game rolls around, you really have to be smart with the ball, take care of things. Jada Adams, another wide open 3 in the corner, and she converts her 4th of the evening.
Jada Adams, what a performance here this evening. 4 threes, 12 points in total. Has been excellent defensively, getting the start for the first time this year and showing Coach B that maybe she should stay with that lineup. Timeout for Coach Hoover. Trying to stop the bleeding here as the Demon Deacons trail by 10. Unexpected offense from Jada Adams tonight. She only had made 3 threes since Christmas. Has 4 here this evening. Her 12 points, in a lot of ways, really the difference in what is a 10-point lead for the Blue Devils. 4 of 5 from the field. All of those attempts have come from behind the 3-point line.
Well, you know, she's a sophomore. She's from Irvine, California. She played in all 33 games as a freshman, but with limited minutes and in a particular role. But right now, she's getting this opportunity, and she is taking advantage of it. Really is the extra punch in the scoring column that Duke has been missing.
If she can provide that type of offense, it allows the Blue Devils to play her more, because her defense is excellent.
And she's really a fun kid. She brings a lot of energy. She hustles. She's a spark. They've always said when she goes in the game, she gives them a lift, she gives them a spark. But tonight, she's got her start and took advantage of it.
Good child, the finish on the other end. The Blue Devils starting to blow this one open here in the third quarter. Danger time, you got to feel like, for the Demon Deacons.
Yeah, this is where the short bench starts to hurt you. Long minutes. We haven't seen a whole lot of transition, but we're starting to see the Blue Devils get out, long out. Let's push it down the floor and get easy baskets. And you're right, this is where Wake needs to make a move and cut into this lead.
12-2 run over the last 3 minutes or so, and another turnover, the 12th for Wake Forest. Games to get to 300 wins at Duke. 2005 National Coach of the Year. There's a look at the top 7 in terms of the preseason poll in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Blue Devils slotted in at 5, Wake Forest preseason 12th, according to the coaches and the media. And we take a look at the standings, and unfortunately, obviously, injuries have played a part in the 0-for-5 start for both of these sides. Duke looking to break this skid here, break the ice, get that first conference win under their belt here in Cameron Indoor Stadium. Blue Devils have won 22 straight against the Demon Deacons here in Cameron, and Liana Odom is helping Duke try and make it 23 here tonight.
And Jada Adams playing the point on that play. And that was great execution. Nice patience, waiting for the perfect shot. Nay Odom elevating and scoring.
As a coach, you have to love coming out of a dead ball situation, out of a timeout. When you execute that way on the offensive end, means everybody was paying attention in the huddle.
Well, Coach P telling us that Odom will play the point for them from this point forward, but there will be other players that will set plays for them, and they'll use Jada Adams, and they'll use Mila Goodchild and Haley Gorecki. Scramble on the floor.
Even if Wake Forest comes up with it, it's going to be a shot clock violation. That, to me, has been the story as much as anything. The Demon Deacons have gotten nothing easy offensively. Even when they've scored, it's been usually with less than 5 seconds left on the shot clock. Duke just wearing them down with all of these looks they're giving them defensively.
I think that's nicely put. Duke's kept the pressure on all night. They've kept them off balance, making them think about every possession, read the defense. And it's tiring. It's tiring if you're Conti and you're pressured the length of the court the whole game. Nice back cut right there by Jada Adams. They missed her.
Gorecki has that one poked away. I think Haley Gorecki's done a nice job, too, of not trying to force anything. Obviously, the defense has her as a priority. Has only taken 7 shots, has made 3 of them. But it's all been very much in the flow of the offense.
It really has, and that's a good point about her maturity as a player. She knows that her team needs her scoring, but they can also use her in other areas, and she's working hard. And once again, a great pass. Jada Adams getting her shot block, trying to beat the shot clock.
Adams forced into a tough situation there. Had Maya Banks draped all over her, unable to catch the rim, and so a shot clock violation the other way. Blue Devils still, though, with a 14-point advantage here with less than 3.5 to go in the third.
Well, and Haley Gorecki is also #1 in the ACC in steals at 3.2 a game, so clearly getting it done on both sides of the ball. Blue Devils in the 2-3 zone. You can tell because you see that bump down. Odom comes out and she gets bumped down.
Quiet start to the second half for Ratza.
Duke does such a great job disguising what defense they're in. It's just so hard for point guards to read.
Yet again, 1 on the shot clock, but this time Ivana Ratza able to finish inside.
Nice execution. Good patience by Wake on that one.
Yeah, there's that fine line between patience and not running yourself into a scenario where you're having to put up a bad shot at the end of the shot clock. That was the perfect situation for the Demon Deacons. Now Ratza gets her hand on that pass and finishes the other way. Back-to-back baskets for Ivana Ratza. So after I say she has a slow start to the second half, she answers with 4 points in about 20 seconds.
Wake Forest capitalizing on the miscue. Duke does not want to open the door and let them back in this game. Both these teams have played in so many games. It's just consistency and it's finishing. A lot of times they're in it close to the end and they're just unable to complete the game. And that's a shot right there that Nay Odom could have taken that she unselfishly gave up, and it resulted in a turnover.
Demon Deacons trying to cut it back to single digits. Ratza spots up for 3. Looks like Udo's going to be called for the foul. No, the official says it'll stay with Wake Forest.
We had an over-the-back call, maybe. Oh, that's the nice post-to-post interior pass. Great dive cut by Ratza. There's the turnover. Ratza in the passing lane.
Ratza with 14 on the night. Official had initially pointed the other way. Instead, it was Udo that drew the foul and then finished the layup inside. So all of a sudden, Wake Forest has caught fire here offensively. A 6-0 run for the Demon Deacons the last 68 seconds.
And a beautiful assist by Conti, finding Udo in the back of the zone. Conti, number 2 in the ACC in assists, averaging over 5 a game.
It's been the turnovers for the Blue Devils here lately, 3 of them in the last 3 minutes, allowing the Demon Deacons to cut the lead back down to 8.
That's Coach.
5 on the shot clock. Williams down low, looking to navigate her way through the trees, and the reverse layup is good.
Nice take, nice pass. That's Coach P's reference to slippage, like stringing together those mistakes. That's the last thing she wants to see is from her team down the stretch.
Duke has hit 5 of its last 6 shots. It's just been the turnovers that have hurt them at times here in the last few minutes.
Wake
Conti
screen
over
in the
to
top of
Ratza, yeah. And now Udo inside converts on that layup.
And that screen on the top of the 2-3 seems to really be helping. They're able to make the first pass, make the second pass, and get that ball inside.
More decisive here recently for Wake Forest offensively. 13-second differential. Shot and game clock. Odom inside takes the contact and finishes once again.
Gorecki with the no-looker, knowing Odom can elevate, throwing it up in the air, letting her grab it.
Odom still with just 1 miss on the night. 17 points in total. 3 different Blue Devil defenders converge on Udo to force the turnover. 5 seconds to go in the third quarter. Gorecki on the floor. It'll be a jump ball, and it will belong to the Blue Devils. 3.6 on the clock.
It's the kind of hustle you need to see out of both teams. Duke right now a little under 4 seconds. See if they can get a shot up.
Odom at the buzzer. That one is no good, but Liana Odom with 17 on the evening, including 7 in the third quarter, helping the Blue Devils distance themselves a bit from Wake Forest.
And she just makes it look so very easy. The elevate, the catch, and the finish. Nay Odom, 17 points, give the Blue Devils the lead.
Basketball and baseball since 2015, the only conference to win one of each of those 4 titles over that span of time. Ratza is fouled.
Nice set out of the timeout. Little dribble loop play. Ratza with the flash cut to the middle, able to catch and draw that foul.
What does Wake Forest have to do here? Deficit is 10 coming into the fourth quarter. The look inside is from Banks, perhaps more of that, getting the ball back inside. That's where the Deacons seem to have had the most success tonight.
That's really been their money all night, and that's exactly what they need to do. They flat out just need to score. This game is going to be won by the team that can continue to put points on the board and take care of the ball. But you're right, Wake has been able to get into the heart of the defense. They've just missed a lot of easy opportunities.
Gorecki with the most time she has had really all night and passes up a good shot to find an even better one. Good child from the corner, good from 3. Her second of the night, and the Blue Devils lead by 11.
I mean, and there you see Gorecki's unselfishness. She hasn't shot the ball much tonight, and she gives up an open look to an even better look by Mila Goodchild, who drains the shot. Great team basketball.
Gorecki, just the 7th player at Duke with 500 points, 200 rebounds, 100 assists in her first 50 games. When you think about it, she's still relatively young in terms of games played in her career, because even though she's been around and on campus for a while, she has missed so much time because of injury.
And the rehab to come back from the hip surgery she's had and what she's had to endure, she's just so tough, so talented. And I think really finally starting to get into her groove. Nice double screen on the top of the zone. Conti forcing that pass on that back cut. Nobody was available. And there's Nay Odom.
How about that outlet pass from Haley Gorecki to Liana Odom, who takes her time and finishes the layup. 19 on the night for Odom. 9 of 10 from the field.
What a great pass. You know you can just throw it anywhere in her vicinity, and she's able to go up and get it.
She had 20 against Florida State, did Odom. That's her season high against an ACC team. Get the feeling she's going to eclipse that mark here this evening.
And this really is the danger zone for Wake Forest. They've got to find ways to score. And they cannot let Duke's three-point shooters get going. As you see Conti force a shot, Duke again just making Wake use the entire shot clock. Just great defensive presence. And look at this lead pass on the money. Odom catches, lets the defender go by, and the easy finish, and just never shows emotion.
From the opposite free throw line, Gorecki threw that pass. Goodchild threw that one directly to a Wake Forest defender. Ratza spots up for three. Williams comes down with the rebound.
Wake just has not gotten anything easy tonight. Limited transition, Duke defense getting back as we see Goodchild launch a three, but Gorecki there for the rebound.
Akambodi James will head to the free throw line after being fouled.
Akambodi James is feeling it tonight.
Well, this is a much better, more balanced effort than we have seen from Duke in a while. Offensively, defensively, a number of different players getting involved. Unselfishness, but not overly unselfish, if that makes any sense, where taking the appropriate shot, passing when necessary.
Well, and Coach P told us, she said, we're looking for consistency, but admittedly, this is a young team who learns lessons with every game. And she said for this game, she wanted to take all the lessons they had learned and come home to their court and play well. And I think that's exactly what they've been able to do tonight. And they've gotten contributions from a variety of players. She's really been proud of their fight up until this point. They're just learning as they go.
6 different Blue Devils with 4 or more points here tonight. 4 players with 3 or more rebounds. Haley Gorecki, 7 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. A steal as well. Lead is back to 13.
Blue Devils just blanketing every play that's run. Great job by Odom to go underneath that screen.
Under 5 once again. It's almost as if Wake Forest starts their possessions with 10 seconds on the clock. Nice job on the offensive glass to keep that one alive. Ratza misses the bunny underneath, though. It'll stay with Wake Forest.
I mean, Wake has had to work so hard to even get a shot off. You got to credit the Blue Devil defense. They've been smothering. The matchup zone is just so difficult to play against, as we said, with Duke's length, and then they switch to the 2-3, and then you have to guess which, try to understand which one they're in. Sometimes they'll jump into a man-to-man, but it's really difficult to play against. And defense has been the best part of their game so far this season.
That one deflected by Gorecki and eventually rolls out of bounds off of Wake Forest. Haley Gorecki, a nuisance on defense on that play.
Well, you can see what a great job they're doing, like being there on the catch. They're moving as the ball moves. As soon as the offensive player catches the ball, they've got a defender right there in their face pressuring. Wake in their 2-3 zone, chosen to take the face guard off.
You mentioned it early that Liana Odom had to take a bit of offense to the fact that she was in essence the third player. There was a triangle in 2 and she was number 3, took full advantage, and I think Wake Forest was basically daring her to beat them. 19 points later, she sort of has.
Well, and good for her for stepping up. I mean, she's such an explosive scorer, and you want to see her just continue to take more shots and be a focal point of the offense. And we're starting to see that. She has strung a couple of really good games together. Her scoring output is going up.
20 points now for Odom. 4th time this year she has scored 20 or more.
Duke back in the matchup. You see Odom at the top. It's a lot of wingspan, the top of that zone. The deflections, and they turn off defense into offense. And Gorecki, give it to me. Let me take a shot. The nice finish.
Haley Gorecki 1 on 3. Blue Devils an 8-0 run over the last 3.5. It's the largest lead of the game for Duke at 16. You get the sense that Wake Forest wearing down just a bit here, playing shorthanded on the road here in a place that has not treated them well over the years.
Well, nice job by Conti to come off that screen. Defense opted to go under, and she took the opportunity to shoot it.
Conti having to handle a heavy burden here this evening, not shooting the ball particularly well. 3 of 12 from the field, just 1 of 5 from distance.
But I'm sure Coach Hoover's going to be happy to see that she's taken 12 shots. You can't guarantee that you make them every night, but you got to take the ones you get, and she's created a bunch of opportunities for herself. As we see, Gurecki gets a look from behind the arc and fills it up.
With 2 on the shot clock, one of the few times that Duke has been pressed into a late shot clock situation. She has a dozen now, 3 Blue Devils with a dozen or more, one of them being Jada Adams.
Conti again coming off that high screen. She finds a seam in the defense and she gets to the rim. I think it's just like how she just doesn't back down. She's got no fear. She just plays tough. A deflection by Wake. They're still in this, but they got to make something happen quickly.
Demon Deacons need to get stops. Haley Gurecki starting to turn it on offensively. 1 on 3 with the finish. Her Blue Devils lead by 15 here in Cameron Indoor Stadium. Gurecki a dozen assists here this evening. Her impression of her coach shouting defense. Well, the Blue Devils have forced 18 turnovers here tonight, turned them into 19 points. Coach B has to be pretty pleased with what they've been able to do to stifle Wake Forest. Just bleeding down the shot clock on nearly every possession and forcing them into really bad situations.
Great effort on the defensive end, but also shooting 60% on the offensive end. So really being able to put a full game together as we see Gurecki driving to the rim again, able to draw the foul.
Yeah, Duke shooting 59.5% from the field, almost 44% from the three-point line, and now Gurecki going into attack mode offensively here in the latter stages. Will go to the free throw line to shoot a pair. 74% shooter on the year.
Blue Devils with 3 players in double digits and scoring from 3 others. It's a nice balance on the scorecard tonight.
.432 to play.
And Wake Forest is going to have to pick the tempo up of this game a little bit. They're going to have to create more possessions, whether it be with second shot opportunities, creating offense with their defense.
And most of Wake Forest's success has happened inside tonight, but you got to figure you need to sprinkle a few threes in here to make up a 17-point deficit in just over 4 minutes. Got to figure that has to be Conti, Ratza perhaps. Foul is called.
Wake's done a nice job with their interior passing tonight, post-to-post passing. I mean, they're playing without 2 of their better interior players, but the players that are getting the opportunity to be out there just continuing to develop, and they will be better for it when Sharp and Penna come back. And I know for Coach Hoover that can't be soon enough, but I just love how positive she is about this team.
Uchenna Nwoke checks in for the Blue Devils.
Stepped on the baseline.
Yeah, stepping out of bounds, didn't reestablish. Looked like it was Conti there. Didn't quite get the footwork correct. 4:05 to play. Duke looking to expand the lead. Now some full court pressure for the Demon Deacons.
Deacons cannot have empty possessions if they want to win this game.
Faith Suggs dribbles into Maya Banks, who takes the charge. Demon Deacons looking as though they will fall to 0-6 in conference play here this evening, and this is what lies ahead. A couple of top 25 opponents after visiting Virginia, and then Clemson, maybe the story of the season in the ACC at 5-1 in conference play this year. Not an easy schedule on the horizon for Wake Forest.
Well, Coach Amanda Butler at Clemson has got that team on the move. I mean, when was the last time they were 5-1 in the ACC? And they just playing so well together, beating ranked opponents, just on a roll right now.
Adams comes down with that rebound finally as we take a look at what lies ahead for Duke. Heavily front-loaded schedule for the Blue Devils out of the gates in the ACC, taking on NC State and Louisville. I've also played Florida State already. Of course, the Syracuse game, that's a top 15 matchup. and then a bit more of a favorable schedule as things progress on into the rest of the season for Duke. A chance to string some wins together, perhaps, as a foul is called.
Well, and good timing because the Duke team continues to get better. You know, they had to play the 2 top 10 undefeated teams to start, and then Florida State, another ranked team. 3 out of their top 5 opponents were ranked in the top 25. Now they'll face Syracuse. Syracuse team who's, I think, ranked number 15th right now, but Miami just went up to Syracuse and knocked them off. Well, Syracuse is ranked 13th, Ryan, so great win by Coach Meyer and her Miami Hurricanes.
It was the first time since the early 90s that Duke had to take on 2 undefeated teams to start ACC play, and for a team that was still trying to find itself and adjust to some lost personnel and welcoming Michaela Boykin at the time back into the lineup, it's hard, and the train got off the tracks there a little bit, and it started to avalanche just a touch. This, it feels like a steadying win. Of course, still 3+ to go, but Blue Devils seemingly well on their way to a victory here this evening that could perhaps help calm the nerves just a bit.
Well, and build confidence. And Coach P and her staff, I mean, they've just been consistently positive, staying with the team. And she just talked about this week. She said, we're going to play these 2 games, and a nice slip on that down screen, that single down slip by Jada Adams. Nice pass by Chen. But, you know, they said we're going to stay the course. We're at home. We get to play 2 in a row at home, and we're going to focus on this week and keep trying to get better and get in the win column.
This is uncharted territory, really, to some extent for the Blue Devils. The first 5-game losing streak for Duke since Coach P has gotten here. First time they've been 0-5 in ACC play since the 92-93 season. And so everybody sort of collectively trying to figure this out together. Another 3 for Goodchild on the other end. And back comes Duke with just over 2 minutes to play.
I'd like to run this open post set this year to try to get it into the high post. Nice back cut right there. And here goes Jada Adams driving into the bigs. Gets her shot blocked.
Adams really a career game tonight. 12 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Number of steals as well. Got the start. A breakout performance for the sophomore, who will be needed going forward in a much more significant way.
Sophia Roma back in the game. Some of Duke's players don't typically get a lot of time. Forced shot by Adams.
Emily Schubert takes the baseline jumper.
Coach P getting her players minutes while she can. Conti driving in again.
Conti will go to the free throw line. These teams have only combined to shoot 12 free throws tonight. These will be free throws 5 and 6 for Wake Forest.
Blue Devils 8 for 18 from behind the arc, 44%.
Yeah, Duke plus 12 from the three-point line. They've made 4 more threes than Wake Forest. Conti good on the free throw.
You know, Wake's shooting a respectable 45%. Blue Devils shooting 55%.
Wake Forest actually taken more shots than Duke to this point. Conti is good on both.
Duke likes to run that sideline break. Jada Adams going to run the point for a while.
Akinbodi James trying to rebound her own miss. Looks like Sophia Roma will head to the free throw line after getting fouled with 62 seconds to play. Looks like it's Akinbodi James instead. 0 for 2 from the line here this evening.
Right now, Ryan, Blue Devils scoring above their average and holding Wake under their average. So I think the coaching staff has to be pleased with this effort. All-around team, good effort.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier Duke hadn't scored more than 64 in the last half a dozen games, but They've broken through that barrier here tonight.
You know, in a depleted Wake Forest roster, you have to commend their effort and their toughness. Just having a hard time scoring. Duke defense doing a nice job just making them use the shot clock.
Duke gives a lot of teams a hard time defensively. 5 different teams have been held to their season low in points this year against Duke. So it was going to be a tall task for Wake Forest, regardless of some of the personnel deficiencies. With just more than 30 seconds to go here in the fourth quarter. Demon Deacons with 51 points. Shot clock is off. Schubert takes the jumper. Nate Suggs commits the foul. And Debbie, your final thoughts here. Duke team that gets its first conference win of the season. Pulls back to 500 overall. Wake Forest will drop to 0-6. Injuries obviously going to be part of the narrative for both of these teams going forward the rest of the year. We mentioned how Wake Forest can expect to get some personnel back. Duke, this is the new Duke Blue Devils. This is the 2018-19 Duke Blue Devils as they're going to be constructed going forward.
And they look good tonight. You know, an injury and adversity, it's part of the game of basketball, and players can use it as an excuse or they can find a way to get it done. I think Jada Adams really gave Duke an offensive punch tonight. I thought their defense was stellar, just creating turnovers, creating extra opportunities. They did a decent job on the boards, an all-around good game by the Blue Devils, and I think they've been able now to string together 2 pretty solid games, 2 of their better performances for the year. And as you said, Wake's going to get 2 of their best players back, continue to play well. Fought hard tonight, just didn't have enough in the tank. Blue Devils really a well-balanced game, well-deserving of this 14-point victory.
Yeah, the fourth 20-plus point game of the season for Liana Odom. I agree with you, though. Jada Adams, to me,